We're at the top of page 47. As conquered by the last cold air when winter whistles in the wind, alone upon a branch that's bare, a trembling leaf is left behind. Pushkin. So take a minute and think about this poem, and how does this poem represent the situation that Riftka is left in at this point? And write that on a sticky. December 1st, 1919, Warsaw, Poland. Dear Tova, Papa and Mama met with a lady from the Hayas, that is, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. They are a group of people who help Jews with troubles like ours. The lady said there's highest workers all over the world. I wonder why we never met any in Berdichev or Matsev. Have you heard of them? The lady from the Hayas gave us money to buy food. She sat with us in our room and listened to our troubles. She was no taller than I am. Wisps of silver hair kept escaping from a bun on top of her head. She said, Mr. and Mrs. Nibrat, you and your 2 sons should leave for America, as planned, but Riftka must stay in until her ringworm heals. To leave a child of 12, Papa said. How can we do such a thing? It is not so unusual, the highest lady said. We have handled many such cases. Awful things are happening to me, Tova. My hair is falling out, my long blonde hair. I have a bald patch over one ear and another on the back of my head. I can cover it with the kerchief, but it itches and itches. I know I must be ugly because Mama's eyes look away from me all the time now. Can't Mama stay with me? I asked. The lady from the Hayas said if your Mama goes to America, she can work and make money for the family. She can make a home for your father and your brothers. If your Mama stays in Europe with you, she will cost the family money. Only you must stay, Riftka. I will not stay in Warsaw, I told the lady from the Hayas. If my family leaves me in Warsaw, I will find a way back home in Berdichev. The lady from the Hayas said, I want you to leave Warsaw also, but not for Berdichev. The cure for your illness awaits you in Belgium. Mama said, Belgium? What is Belgium? I have never heard of this place. It is the best place for Riftka now, the highest lady said. The people of Belgium open their arms and their homes to immigrants. That is who I am, Tova. That is what you are when you are wandering between 2 worlds. You are an immigrant. The highest lady said, we can arrange for Riftka to stay with a family in Antwerp. She will go each day to a hospital and get treatment for her ringworm. When you are all better, Riftka, you can sail to America right from Antwerp and join your Mama and Papa and all your brothers. I don't want to stay with a family I don't know, I said. I remember the innkeeper's daughter in Matsev, the one who ate my herring. What if the family I stay with in Belgium is like hers? I do not want to be anywhere without my family. Even Saul would be better than no one. If they would just let Saul stay with me. Saul does not want to stay. All Saul cares about is getting to America. The highest lady said, in Antwerp there will be someone from my organization to look out for you, to monitor your care. I said, if I can't go to America, please send me back to Berdichev. Papa said, Riftka, the Russians are angry at our family in Berdichev. We have cheated them of 5 strong boys. The army wanted your brothers. They wanted Isaac and Asher and Reuben and Nathan and Saul. I could not let them have my sons. Nathan sat with his hands clasped in his lap. Saul stood with his back to me, staring out the little window of our room. Riftka, Papa said, you cannot go back to our home in Berdichev. We have no more home in Berdichev. You, too, would meet your death if you returned now. Your coming back would put all the family remaining, Tova and Buba Ruth and Aunt Anna and all the others, in great danger. I don't want to put you in danger, Tova. I must go to Belgium. I see that, but I feel so frightened. What will become of me? Tova, I am like an orphan now. Shalom, Riftka. So at this point, I want you to try to imagine yourself in Rifka's place and write down some emotions that you would be feeling. How would you feel towards your family? What would you be afraid of in this new place, based upon the experiences that you've already had as this character? And write that on a sticky. We're at the top of page 51. Sleep evades me. There's no light. Darkness wraps the earth with slumber. Only wary tickings number the slow hours of the night. Pushkin. February 25th, 1920, Antwerp, Belgium. Dear Tova, saying goodbye to Mama and Papa hurt in my chest the way it hurt when Saw held me under water too long. The night before, Mama had slipped off her gold locket. I had never seen Mama without her locket. It came from Papa, his wedding gift to her. Mama hung the gold chain around my neck. I wrapped my hand around it and felt Mama's warmth in the etched metal. Papa gave me his tallis, his precious prayer shawl. He said the prayer over it first, kissed the fringe, then handed it to me. Why should she have Papa's tallis? Saul muttered. She is only a girl. Hush, Saul, Nathan said. Don't make things worse. The highest lady in Warsaw put me on my train the same day Mama, Papa, Nathan, and Saul left. I waved goodbye to them until my arm ached, but too soon, crowds pushed between us and they were gone. My train took me through Germany and into Belgium, so now I am in Antwerp. It has taken me a little while to get settled. The first room the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society found for me was dark and stuffy, like the inside of your wardrobe, Tova. Now I am in a very nice room. So before we get too much further, I want you to make a couple of stickies here. On one sticky, I want you to try to make notes and think about what are some things that her parents do that show that they really, truly don't want to leave her behind. And then what are some things that her brothers do that also show that they're having a difficult time with this. Saul in particular seems confused. And I want you to take note of the way they all behave so that you can see how this changes later. We're in the middle of page 52. The couple who own this house are older even than Mama and Papa. They tell me to call them Gaston and Marie. Can you imagine, Tova? They have very nice things. A quilt of blue squares covers my bed, and a little red desk sits under the window. I sit at the desk for hours, fitting perfectly because I am so short. And I look out the window at the park below read our pushkin. I have a pitcher and bowl decorated with tiny blue flowers, and a chest to keep my clothes in. There's a painting on the wall over my bed. It shows a countryside covered with flowers. When I look at it, I think this is what it is like in America. I have a braided rug to warm my feet. The woman, Marie, made it herself. She has made many of the things here. This is the nicest place I have ever lived. My room is almost as fine as the rooms in your house, Tova, but it is not home. It can never be home without Mama and Papa. I miss them so much. Papa wrote that they have settled in New York City. His letters tell about their trip across the ocean and their apartment. They have water right outside their door and a real indoor toilet just down the hall. It is odd to think of Mama and Papa living in such luxury. My 13th birthday came last week. I did not tell Marie and Gaston. I had hoped to celebrate this birthday in America. I remember my 9th birthday when you and Hannah gave me a doll. What a beautiful doll she was with a china head. Every morning I would smear her face with herring, pretending she was eating breakfast too. Mama and Saul took that doll. I remember how they took her, along with the dress Aunt Rachel had made for me. I could never tell you this. Papa forbade us to speak to anyone about such matters. But Mama and Saul took my doll and my dress and traded them at the market for potatoes. I swore I would not eat those potatoes, but I got hungry and I ate. So I want you to take another note here of how extreme Rivka's family circumstances were in Berdichev. What would it have meant for them to have to sell their finer things in order to feed themselves? Top of page 54. In America, no one will take my gifts from me, so I am 13 now. For Nathan and Saul's 13th birthdays, Mama and Papa did a mitzvah. I'm just a girl. Still, girl or not, I think God would want me to do a mitzvah too. Early one morning, on the morning of my birthday, I crept down the stairs and took broken straws from the kitchen broom. Back in my room, I wove the straws into a Star of David, a fragile golden Star of David. It took patience and time to twine the straws so they would hold together. When I finished, I set my star on the red desk beside Mama's locket, and the sunlight fell on them both. I stood before the window, wrapped in Papa's tallis, and recited all the Hebrew prayers I held in my memory. Maybe you would think me foolish, Tova, but I did a mitzvah. I celebrated my becoming a woman, just like the boys do when they become men. So now I want you to take a moment and you can look up on the internet, what is a bar mitzvah? Spelled B-A-R space M-I-T-Z-V-A-H. Okay? Look that up, and what does it mean for young men in Jewish society? Take a sticky and put it in this page. Okay, so we are near the bottom of page 54. Later, I placed my Star of David between the pages of our pushkin, so I could keep it forever to remember this day. Before I went to sleep that night, I read over my letters to you. I ran out of blank pages in the book a long time ago. Now I write in the margins around the poetry. Someday I will get these letters to you. Tova, I promise. When I reach America, Papa will show me how to send this properly, and you will have your pushkin back again. In America, I can buy my own pushkin, and any other book I wish to read. My hair is gone, all gone. I am as bald as the rabbi of Berdichev. I cover my baldness with a kerchief, because still I look very ugly. I don't ever leave my room. It is winter. Back in our village, I was always first out to skate on the pond. In Antwerp, I do not go outside except for my treatments. The treatments are not so bad as I feared. I walk to the convent once a day. The nun in charge of my case is Sister Katrina. She washes my scalp with a green soap that makes my eyes water. Then she puts me under a violet light. The light warms my head. You don't mind the treatments, do you, Riftka? Sister Katrina asks. I smile and shake my head. I do not mind. In Belgium, where I am neither held nor loved, it feels good when Sister Katrina touches me, even if she does so only to treat my ringworm. When my scalp is perfectly dry, Sister Katrina sprinkles it with powder. She gave me 2 new kerchiefs, pretty ones. She boils and dries them each time before I can wear them. Cleanliness is important in curing your disease, Sister Katrina says. She also makes me clean my nails. You can make the disease worse by scratching the sores with your fingers, she says. I tell her my nails are clean. See? She says, you can't see the germs that make the ringworm, Riftka. Here, scrub your nails. So I do. I don't scratch my head that much anyway. Just sometimes I can't help it. Sister Katrina is teaching me Flemish. She taught me a prayer to say in my head when I need to scratch. I think saying the prayer is supposed to keep my mind off the itching. I'm not sure it is right, though, for a Jew to say Catholic prayers. I say a Hebrew prayer instead. The sister is nice. She has dimples even deeper than Nathan's, so deep I can see them even when she is not smiling. Papa sends me money in his letters. He writes that I must pay Sister Katrina for the care she gives me. I count out the money they send. I think Mama and Papa must be getting rich in America, working in the clothing factory. I think soon they will be as rich as Uncle Abram. Then I worry that maybe they are going without food to send this money to me. Okay, so now I want you to take a note of Rivka is gaining some maturity here. How is she gaining maturity? She talks a lot about wealth. And she's assuming a lot of things initially about what her parents are doing in America. And what realization does she make that might be more of a reality there? Sister Katrina accepts nothing. Keep it, she says. You need it more. She talks with me during my treatment. At first we spoke only Polish, but I am picking up Flemish quickly. After my treatment, she makes tea. Sister Katrina tells me I am clever because I learned Flemish so quickly. I thought you would like that, Tova, that someone thinks I'm clever. Really, it is not so clever, I tell her. It is nothing special. I just learn these things. You will learn even faster if you get out of your room, Sister Katrina says. Antwerp is a lovely city. Go out and enjoy yourself. I like my room, I say. It too is lovely. I am happy to stay there. I can't explain to her how I fear this city filled with strangers. You do not get enough exercise, Sister Katrina says. You go from your room to the convent and back again. Explore more. Go on. It won't hurt you. What you need, Riftka, is some fresh Belgian air. It is not exercise and fresh air I need. It is Mama and Papa. How can I enjoy myself without Mama, without my family? I do not need exercise. All I need is to get better and to go to America. Walking to and from the convent, I pass many beautiful sights. There are gardens everywhere, and even in the winter I can see how fine they are. I pass a market filled with fruits and vegetables and buckets of flowers of every color, and smells that make my stomach always eager to eat. Right now I am sitting at a little desk in my room looking out over the park. There are children who come every day. I'm beginning to recognize them. There is one girl built so much like Hannah, slender with dark eyes and dark hair. Once or twice I have almost gone out only to be near her. I would like to play with her, to play with all of them. But what if it isn't like Russia, and they hate me because I'm a Jew? What if it is like Poland, and they hate me because I am not a Pole? What if they hate me because I have no hair? So I want you to take a note and stop and talk about in this note what kind of fears Rivka is going through in her mind. Why is she so afraid that people will hate her? We're in the middle of page 58. I wish I could be back with you, Tova, and with Hannah. Remember how Hannah would dress me up and coil my hair around her fingers? When I grew sleepy, she would set me on the warm shelf of the tiled stove and cover me in furs and sing to me. And you would talk, always talk. Listen to this, Rivka, you would say, and you would read me something from one of Uncle Avram's big books. Or you would open the pushkin and sometimes your voice would go deep and husky. I could not understand why, but tears would stand in both our eyes. Tova, I love the words that sprang from your lips. It is you, my cousin, who made me want to learn. Hannah is like a fairy princess, so delicate and beautiful and sweet. You, Tova, are like an old rabbi, clever and funny and brave. Is Hannah still taking piano lessons? Marie plays piano. She's playing now. Don't tell this to Hannah, but I used to hate listening to her lessons. The teacher would scream and tears would roll down Hannah's cheeks. She never got the notes right. It is you who can really play, Tova, and never a lesson of your own. It amazed me how you could watch Hannah's lesson and then sit down after and play the music yourself. I never understood why Uncle Avram didn't give you lessons. When I asked Mama, she said, Uncle Avram won't give Tova piano lessons because of her back. Well, I told Mama, just because Tova's back isn't straight doesn't mean she can't play the piano. When she was a baby and fell from the table, did she hurt anything else? Did she hurt her hands so she couldn't play? No. So why can't Tova have piano lessons? Mama said you couldn't understand, Rivka. I can, I insisted. Explain it to me. Mama said Uncle Avram gives Hannah piano lessons so she can catch a good husband. What about Tova, I asked. Doesn't Uncle Avram want her to catch a good husband too? Mama said some girls aren't meant to marry, Rivka. But Tova is smart and funny, I cried. and so clever. I thought everyone saw you as I did. Now that I am bald, I wonder, maybe Mama would think I am one of those girls too. One of those girls not meant to marry. Sister Katrina says my hair will grow back. What if it doesn't? I think you would still love me, just as I love you. Bubba Ruth, my dear little grandmother, she would love me, even with a bald head. But you are both very far away. My own mamma watched with such sorrow my hair falling out, and she left before it was done. What would she think if she saw me now? I have started praying for my hair to grow back. Sometimes I even say Sister Katrina's prayer, even if it is for Catholics. I hope that it does not make things worse for me. Shalom, dear Tova. Riftka. So at this point, I want you to take a note of how the girls in the society really, the value is placed upon their ability to be married. And you can see it in the way Rivka is talking about Tova's experience. So I want you to take a note. Why did Tova's parents not pay for piano lessons for her? Why did they think she was not fit to be married? And then, on a separate note, I want you to make your own comment about what that would be like if it were you. Try to empathize with that person. Try to empathize with these girls. Do you agree with this? So you might make several notes in your reaction to this past entry. We're at the top of page 61. With freedom's seed the desert sowing, I walked before the morning star. Pushkin. March 17th, 1920, Antwerp, Belgium. Dear Tova, today I have met Antwerp. Even though it is still winter, the air blew soft and mild today, all along my walk back from the convent. Windows were open, sounds from the houses drift out into the street. I took a different route home, turning down one new lane, then another and another. I passed millineries and bakeries and big department stores. I passed barbers and markets and tailor shops. Okay, so I'm going to have you stop for a second. I don't know what a millinery is. So right before the bakery in the past paragraph that I just looked up, look up what a millinery is and see and make a note. I came to a cafe with heavy wooden doors flung wide open. Big green flower pots sat on either side of the doorway, and a wild, strange music streamed out from the dark room. Most amazing of all, a giant man stood there, filling the doorway of the cafe. I had never seen such a man before. I thought my papa and my brothers were big, but they were nothing beside this man. I must have been staring. The giant looked down at me. He grinned, a grin so wide it was like the entrance to a tunnel. Inside the enormous mouth were teeth of pure gold. I know you will not think this very clever of me, Tova, but when I saw all those shining teeth and his huge dark mouth, I was afraid. I turned and started running. I ran and ran until I could run no more, leaning back against a low brick wall. I gasped for breath. I didn't recognize anything. I tried to find my way back, but I couldn't. The sun began to set and the warmth of the day vanished. A brisk wind blew through the streets, up the alleys, across the canals. I had not enough clothes on. I tried to keep myself from shaking, but the twilight chilled me. I was lost. I did not have the least idea how to get back to the house on King Street. A milkman steered his horse and cart up the narrow street in the twilight. The cart clinked softly with empty bottles. I followed him, remembering Uncle Zeb and his horse, Riftka, and how Uncle Zeb would take me for rides when he didn't have business. I did not know what this milkman would do to me if I stopped him. Uncle Zeb would have helped a lost child, but in Berdichev, if a Jew stopped the wrong person, they might end up dead. So I want you to stop and take a note here, and make a note of a couple of the experiences that Riftka has had that makes her fearful of people? And do you think she is right to be fearful of people? So write down a couple of those experiences and whether you think that's a good idea for her to be skeptical. I am not in Berdichev, I told myself. I am in Antwerp, and Sister Katrina and the lady from the Hayas have told me not to fear the people of Antwerp. Well, I thought if I am to make it back to my room tonight, I had better ask someone. So I called to the milkman sitting tall on his cart. Please, I asked, can you show me the way to King Street? He was tall and thin. He had a black mustache that hid his mouth altogether. Please, I said again, beginning in Flemish, finishing in Yiddish. I am very lost. As he climbed down out of his cart, he smiled at me. I could tell he smiled by the way his mustache lifted around his chin. He took my face in his long fingers and smiled down at me. King Street, he asked. Come. The milkman clicked softly to his horse. My uncle drove a cart, I said, jabbering nervously. As he walked me through the streets of Antwerp, his horse's name was Lotka. I don't know where Lotka is anymore. Baba Ruth sold him after my uncle's death. The milkman led his horse with one hand. He offered me his other. I hesitated for a moment, then took it. My uncle used to take me for rides in his cart when he had no customers, I chattered, in a mixture of Flemish and Yiddish, gripping the milkman's hand tightly. Not that I don't like walking, I don't mind walking at all. The milkman nodded, even though he could not understand all I said to him. It is very nice of you to help me, I said. My uncle was nice too. I think maybe you are a lot like him. My uncle was a very patient man. The milkman glanced down at me. His mustache hairs tickled his bottom lip. His eyes were two warm coals in his long face. It felt good to be talking to him, holding his hand like I would hold Papa's, or Uncle Abram's, or Uncle Zeb's. The milkman not only took me back to King Street, which I can only think was well out of his way, he took me to my very own door on King Street. Tova, he did not look like Uncle Zeb, except for the kindness in his eyes, but still, while I was with him, I felt Uncle Zeb near me. Outside the door of my house in Antwerp, the milkman bowed to me in parting. I would not let go of his hand. There were hairs along the back of it, stiff, dark hairs. I do not know why, Tova, but I took his long hand of the milkman and pressed it to my lips. I kissed the strong, leathery hand of the milkman right out in front of the house on King Street. I never had a chance to say goodbye to Uncle Zeb. The soldiers shot him as he came out of his house. That was that. Kissing the hand of the milkman, I felt at last I could say goodbye to Uncle Zeb too. The milkman bowed to me once again. Then he lifted his long legs into his cart and he drove away. It is late now. My candle burns low. I wondered, Tova, how do you thank people for such kindness? I never knew strangers could be so kind. Do you think my brothers Asher and Reuben and Isaac would have done as much? I hope so. Shalom, my dear cousin. Riftka. Okay, so now I want you to make another note here about how much this experience with the milkman taking her home and kindly delivering her to her door, what does that mean to Riftka? Who does she associate the milkman with? And why is that so hard for her? Why does that mean so much?